Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. It's looking like we all might receive a $5,000 check from DOGE. They're finding so much fraud, waste, and corruption, and it looks like they want to be able to give some of that money back to the American people, meaning you and me might get checks for $5,000. So I can't think of anything more patriotic than spending that money on guns. And so that's what I want to make this video about. The 5 things to spend your $5,000 DOGE check on. Let's get started.
But there could be a big, beautiful payoff for the American people if DOGE is successful. Musk is mulling $5,000 DOGE dividend checks funded by the savings from his Department of Government Efficiency.
The first one, build your dream rifle. This is my dream rifle build. Some of you will remember the build series we did about a year and a half ago, I believe. But this was my dream rifle, is my dream rifle, and all in with the suppressor, with the optic system, everything on here, we're looking at close to about 5,000 bucks. I spared no expense on this rifle, and if you get a check from DOGE for $5,000, you can do the same thing. You can pretty much build the rifle of your dreams for about $5,000. Now, the only thing that I would say that this rifle is missing is now that I use night vision, it doesn't have a laser aiming module on it yet. So I've got the SMS HFXC on my AR9 here. Perfect little 4-in-1 unit, affordable unit. For $5,000, you could buy a more than affordable unit. But if we look at everything here, if I do add that laser aiming module, that probably puts this over the $5,000 mark. But like I said, 5Gs, you could definitely build a rifle like this. Ambi lower receiver, ADM UIC. It's got the Ambi bolt catch and release, Ambi mag release. It's a freaking sweet lower to build off of. Volter MUR upper receiver. I've got a BCM ion bond bolt carrier group, the TAN. EOTech magnifier on the Unity risers, flip to center mount. Geisley Super 42 buffer system, Geisley SDE trigger, Radian safety, Radian charging handle. We got the Geisley Mark 8 rail in OD green. These are pretty hard to come by at this point. Mod light, PLH V2, also in OD green, and the Otter Creek Labs Polonium K. This is, like I said, it's my dream rifle. And if you get a check for $5,000 from DOGE, money that you weren't already expecting to have, if you've wanted to build a rifle like this or totally different, let me know what your dream rifle build is in the comments. You could definitely build your dream rifle with a check for $5,000. Now, if you already own your dream rifle, what about your dream pistol? For $5,000, you can get a Staccato XC and an optic. Now, this is not a Staccato XC, this is my Springfield Prodigy. Because when it was time for me to get into the world of 2011s, I didn't have $5,000 to spend on one. So I put together a Prodigy $1,300 pistol, and I did a couple thousand in upgrades. Not a couple thousand, maybe 1,500 in upgrades, including all the internals, the magwell, the light, the optic, everything else here. And I've got a really nice pistol. But if I had a check for $5,000, which it looks like we all might be getting soon, well, you can get a Staccato XC for that and still have enough left over to put an optic on it. Now, of course, I'm using this Prodigy as the prop here. My Staccato XC we have at home, the EAA Witness 2311 Match X, is somewhere in North Carolina. It's been sitting there for about a week. I sent it via FedEx to Cosent Arms to do some work on it. It should come back as a really incredible pistol that cost a lot less than $5,000. But last year I got to shoot a lot of really good guns, and one of my very favorite ones was the Staccato XC. So I think it's worth $5,000 compared to a lot of the other really good pistols out these days. Maybe not, but it is a really good gun, and with a check for $5,000, you can absolutely get it. Now, you can't get a Nighthawk for $5,000, those are closer to $6,000, but if you want a Staccato XC, Elon Musk DOGE check for $5,000 will get you there. So we're going to talk about night vision in this video, of course. And every time I talk about night vision, my videos are demonetized. For some reason, YouTube thinks that night vision is not okay. So if you want to help the channel, the best way to do that is by signing up for this video's sponsor, which is Aura. Click the first link in the description or the pinned comment. That link is aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. Aura will provide you with all of your online security in one nifty little app. I've been using it for about a year and it is awesome. I don't get scams anymore. I don't get spam calls anymore. They protect my home title. They give me parental controls. They do all this stuff, and it's all for only $12 a month. But if you use my link down below, you get to try it out for 2 weeks absolutely free. So 14 days, you can try it, see if you like it. If you want to keep it, again, only 12 bucks a month. But even if you don't, at least you got to try it out for free by using my link. Again, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens.
So I've already got my dream rifle. I've already got some nice pistols. If I get that check for $5,000, you know what I might be spending it on? I've always really wanted an MP5K. It's why I'm wearing this shirt. And, you know, I've been thinking about getting one of the MP5 clones because there are a lot of clones on the market that cost half or less than half of the actual H&K version. But if I had a check for $5,000, again, I could buy an actual H&K SP5 or an SP5K specifically. And, you know, that's only, you know, about $3,000, a little more than that. So then you've got a couple $1,000 left over to fit it out with an optic, with a stock, SBR it, get a suppressor for it, really kit out your SP5K. You know, if you get a free check for $5,000 and all of your bills are already paid and you're handling your life just fine before that check, spend it on something you're really going to enjoy. I've wanted an MP5K for a long time. I've talked about it on this channel a lot. In fact, I think it's going to be the next build series. But with a free check for $5,000, might as well get the actual HK version and get a really nice SP5K built out. And again, for $5,000, that is totally doable. Now, if you already have all of the guns that you could ever want or need, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Everybody always wants new guns. But if there's not a new gun on your horizon that you're thinking about getting, or some kind of incredible expensive accessory, well, one thing that I always have trouble with is keeping up on my ammo supply because I go shooting every single weekend. And so I always have to buy more ammo than what I shoot. Well, for $5,000, you can get a lot of ammo. I think you can get a case, you know, about 1,000 rounds of 223, 5.56 for about $400 these days. So for $5,000, you can get 10 cases, 10,000 rounds of 5.56. I've got about, I don't know how much I've got here now, probably 1,200 rounds of 5.56. 9mm, you know, I've got probably 1,000 rounds of 9. Yeah, at least, probably 1,200. 9mm is even cheaper, like $250 or $200, I think, right now for a case of 9mm. So, I mean, you can get a few cases of 5.56, a few cases of 9. If you've got an AK, you could get a bunch of 7.62 by 39. If you have an AK-74 and the price of 5.45 has been making it hard to shoot it regularly, well, with a check for $5,000, you can stock up on 5.45 by 39 because even though the price has skyrocketed, it is still out there, it is still available. You kind of just got to look for it. And I'm sure if you have a 74, you probably already know that. But I always think that ammo is a good investment, kind of protects you from whatever may happen in the future because having guns is not enough. You have to be able to shoot them, you have to be able to practice with them, train, get good, and stay good. If you don't practice, your skills go away. They don't go away, but it is a perishable skill. You need to practice to keep yourself, sharp. And so the only way to do that is by having ammo. Now, of course, yeah, dry fire training, I'm all about it. But there's no substitute for actual range time. And while we're talking about range time, ammo, practicing, training, with a check for $5,000, you can take some of those classes you've always wanted to take. I took 2 pistol classes last summer, and it really helped me to refine my pistol skills. Now, I'm definitely not the best pistol shooter in the world. I'm definitely not the best rifle shooter in the world. But I do practice a lot, but a class will make you better. Multiple classes. I really want to take a carbine course, or carbine and pistol. I want to do a low light, night vision course. And with a bunch of extra free money coming in that you weren't expecting, well, spend some of that on ammo, spend some of that on training, and get yourself good, because just having firearms isn't enough. You got to actually be competent with them. And my number 5 thing to get with a $5,000 DOGE refund check is night vision. Now, generally, you can't get night vision for $5,000, but you can. This Rick's Tactical RNV31 comes in at about $4,600 for white phosphor, dual tube, articulating, manual gain, night vision goggles. I've been using the hell out of these things in the last couple of months since I've got them, and they've been absolutely amazing. Now, I'm sure some high FOM L3 Harris unit is better, of course, and that's why it costs $10,000 and not $5,000 or $12,000, $13,000. But if you want to get into night vision, you want to get into a white phosphor dual tube setup, for less than $5,000, you can get the Rick's Tactical RNV31. I've been really, really happy with it. I've been using it quite a bit. I'm on like night vision groups on Facebook, and I see all these guys selling their very expensive, high spec units. And they're like, yeah, you know, I put 2 hours on it since I bought it 2 years ago. Dude, I've put, I don't know, countless hours on these just in the few months that I've had them. And so I feel like I've gotten a lot more use out of this less than $5,000 unit than a lot of these guys seem to be getting out of their $10,000, $12,000 units. And I think that that's a lot more valuable. Actually going out and using it is going to be more valuable than having the highest spec tubes in the world. And with a check for $5,000, you can get into the world of night vision. Again, these are like $4,600, dual tube white phosphor. I have loved these. Like, it's the coolest thing I've gotten in years. I use them all the time. I just recently did a video about the HFXC, this laser aiming module here. That just makes night vision even more magical when you've got an actual IR laser and illuminator. And that's another thing. For $5,000, so I know I said 5 things and we're at 5 right now, but speaking of night vision, like, a lot of laser aiming modules are very expensive, but for $5,000, you can kit out a couple of your rifles with nice ones. You know, the new Holosun Iris that just came out looks really good, and it's like $1,000. For $5,000, I mean, of course there's tax and stuff, but so say 4 of them. With 4 of those, I could put a lamb on this rifle, this rifle, this rifle, and my 11.5, and basically have like laser aiming capability on all of my guns with pretty good lambs. So I just wanted you guys to think about what you can get for $5,000 when it comes to guns, because I know guns are expensive, gun accessories are expensive, all the supporting gear and training and ammo is all expensive, but you can actually get quite a bit for $5,000. The things that we talked about in this video are kind of high end. Staccato XC, Dream Rifle Build, Night Vision, you know, H&K SP5. These are not cheap gun items, but with a $5,000 bonus check out of nowhere, you, I, anyone can afford any one of these things on this list. But I want to know what you would spend $5,000 on. Remember the stimulus checks? I know a lot of people bought guns and ammo with those. And that was, you know, ammo-geddon. Buying ammo at that time was, you know, it was an expensive proposition. And so when you can afford to get more than you would normally get, I think it's a good thing to do. But let me know down in the comments, what will you get with your $5,000? Now, are we really going to get a $5,000 DOGE check? I don't know. I wouldn't like count your eggs before they hatch by any means. I just thought that this was a fun idea for a video, and Donald Trump is talking about it. They've got all of this fraud, waste, corruption that they're finding, and they're saving all of this money. Now, of course, the country is trillions of dollars in debt. So what's the smartest way for them to use that money? But I do think that giving back to the American taxpayer, that, you know, so much of our income goes to the government, and then we find out that they are just wasting it and, you know, stealing it from us. Well, I think a little refund back to us is not a bad idea. And you all know what I'm going to spend that money on. So what are you going to spend that money on if we get it? If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.